Peace, infinite waters diving deep once again. This is Sexology, water, fire, hot, cold, yin, yang. Act like a woman, think like a man. That could be a new song. That's a book by Steve Harvey, a comedian in the States, in America. And a lot of women who have read that book, who follow the Sexology series, they're saying, oh, what do you think about that? What's your opinions on act like a woman, think like a man? And for me, this is interesting because it's a book which got a lot of press coverage. He was on Oprah. And for me, I respect anyone who can really delve into the area of sexuality because it's so needed. So much confusion between the masculine and the feminine when in essence we exist within each other. So, act like a woman, think like a man. The title itself is interesting because what the book essentially was saying, to break it down, a very quick summary, basically a lot of women have to really protect their womb. And they have to be careful who they let into their womb. The book was saying something like 90 days before any deep intimacy before a woman lets a man touch the cookie jar. And basically the book is just saying how a lot of women should just begin to think like a man. Begin to realize that men are visual creatures who are looking at women as objects, sexual objects, just like you go to a shop and you look at a beautiful car, and basically saying how a lot of men cheat and a lot of men are predators. And just for women just to take time about who they enter a relationship with. And for me, I'm not going to judge the book and say, okay, the book was this. I'm just going to give my unique take on it. But in essence, one thing I've realized is that when we talk of male and female interaction on the planet, first and foremost, we have to realize and we have to bring another dynamic into play and realize the manipulation which has happened on planet Earth, which has led a lot of men, which is keeping a lot of men desensitized from who they really are. Because a lot of true men who are connected to their masculinity and their femininity, which is the unique connection between the two poles of ourselves, essentially these men who are warriors, they know how to treat a woman. And in essence, there's a saying that a man never catches a woman. In essence, a woman catches a man. It's the woman who chooses. So in essence, a lot of men who know themselves, they realize that whenever they're looking at a woman, in essence, they are looking at a representation of nature. And in essence, a lot of men, there are many types of men on the planet. And you can't just categorize all men as just one thing. Because one thing I think the book can do is it can give women the false notion that a lot of men are just after your beauty. When in essence, really and truly, that's not what turns me on. A lot of the times it's both. You have to have inner radiance and outer beauty. And in essence, a lot of the times it's about what the woman has to say. A lot of women are afraid of losing their man. And this is what the book covers also, because a lot of women are afraid of losing their man, or, oh, I think my man is going to cheat on me, simply because they're insecure that if I don't look beautiful all the time, then my man will go away. Maybe he will, because a deep foundation has not been formed from the beginning. What are you both talking about? Because essentially communication is the key. And that's why, in my mind, a lot of men get bored and a lot of men cheat, because essentially there's nothing there. Because essentially, once you consume each other through sexual desires and passions, then what is left? There's nothing to talk about in the morning. So, of course, the man goes on to the next flower. And in essence, when we look at that title, Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man, it's a great title because it brings up a lot of ideas in my mind. We have to also look at the dynamics of arousal level. And in sexology, we know that males and females' arousal level is different. In sexology, males are fire energy. So essentially, this means that we have a quick arousal level. Women are water energy. So essentially, it takes longer to bring women's arousal level to reach a man's. I'm just talking about a quick, instant arousal level. A man can see a beautiful woman and say, okay, I want to have children with her. Just like that. You haven't even heard what she has to say. Women, on the other hand, will say, okay, who is this man? This is just generally speaking, because obviously there are men who are just like that. This is just very broad way of speaking. But in essence, there is a different arousal level. And even within my own journey, I've had to master this sexual energy, because sexual energy is creative energy. No wonder creative people have so much sexual energy brimming out of them, because this is it. So in essence, we have to learn how to work with our sexual energy, cultivating the sexual energy within us. And that's another thing that has to be talked about, because men aren't taught that in schools. Men are not taught how to cultivate the sexual energy. So a lot of men are looking at women as sexual objects simply because they are desensitized even to themselves. And another dynamic of the book, which is great as well, and it brought up an idea in my mind. Act like a woman, think like a man. Okay, but what happens when a woman adopts a male mentality? Then in essence, she loses her divine femininity. She loses her vulnerability. She loses her organic authenticity. Because in essence, when you're trying to think like a man, too many games in relationships are what causes the problems. Too much thinking, not enough being. And in essence, for me, the beautiful women out there are the ones who aren't into playing any games. And I've met a few who aren't into really about analyzing, okay, you are a man and you're like this. No, they're just being themselves. A lot of women have to act in a different way because they've been hurt in past relationships. But in essence, it's about when people go within themselves, then everything is based on resonance. And you know, whoever we get in our relationship is who we deserve. That's what I've realized. And everyone is a teacher for us. The people we meet in our relationships are just essentially preparing us for the next person we might need to go and learn with. Or not. So, Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man. Interesting title. Infinite Water, Sexology Diving Deep. Stay well. Peace.